So here we are today in Mongkok, Hong Kong. So Mongkok is a downtown area. It's known for its street markets. This is the footbridge that connects some of the parts of Hong Kong. It goes across the whole center part of this town, or this part of town. You can see it's a bit busy. On Sundays, a lot of the domestic helpers gather here on this footbridge, usually tens of thousands of them, and they'll set up sheets with food on them, and then they'll all sit and chat. And you know, it's the one day that they get to spend with their friends. The other 6 days a week they work at the residence where they live. Today there's not nearly as many helpers, partly because it's so cold. Okay, in Hong Kong, this is about as cold as it gets. Right now it's about 45 or 50 Fahrenheit. So you can see everybody's bundled up. I know that for the people in Canada and North America and Britain, this is a joke, but here people think this is cold. And it's not comfortable to sit on this tile floor, this cement floor, so not as many helpers are here today. The police presence here is always big, so I've already seen a few groups walk by, and they just harass the helpers and make sure there's no fights and crime and things like that. Sometimes check visas and sometimes checking face masks. So we're going to walk up this footbridge here until we get to the street markets, and then I'm going to show you those. Mongkok is quite famous for the street markets. During the big touristy seasons, this is just crazy busy. Today, because it's so cold, it should be manageable. The crowd should be manageable. So, not too worried about that. It looks like all the vendor shops are open. I saw most of them opening up when I walked up here. So you can see here, we're starting to get more and more helpers setting up their picnic blankets. As the day goes on, if it was warmer, you'd see a lot more. There would be 10 times this amount. So here we found the street markets. You can see down below us there, that street goes all the way up, hundreds of vendors, and this is just one of many. So we're going to find our way down there and then walk up that one, and then we'll hit another street, another and another, and see what wares we have. So there's a stairs down right here, so let's go ahead and get down to street level and take a look. I'm shooting for this video to be about 45 minutes long, which might not be enough time to get more than one or two streets here, because I want to try to go into a bit of detail with the vendors and show you what wares they have. So most of these people that you see are domestic helpers from Indonesia. We have Indonesian helpers here and Filipino helpers. The Filipino helpers mostly gather in central Hong Kong and other parts of the city. So here on Sundays it's the Indo helpers mostly. Okay, so we're down at street level here. I'm going to try to get in close on these vendors so that you can see the prices. So some of these, the numbers you'll be able to understand, but of course the Chinese writing is a bit difficult. This one, you can get pants for 35 Hong Kong, 2 for 60. So they're about $4 US per pair for pairs of pants. And then shirts are 50 Hong Kong. So just remember, it's about 8 to 1, 7.8 to 1. So here's a bunch of exercise pants and things like that, for anywhere between 45 up to 90 for the higher quality ones. Here's umbrellas, the mini umbrellas, and then a few other things in there. Off on the other side, we have towel vendor over here, and then here we have peanuts. So you can buy them by the bowl there, and then lots of fresh fruits, bananas, kiwis, Have some mangoes, cherries, and then have some mandarins. And then over there is some big old papayas. A little bit of everything there. Apples back in the background. There's some more towels, and then here's some more fresh fruit. There's some different kinds. These are some sort of mini peaches. I'm not sure what they are. Oh, apricots. I'm sorry, apricots. So then they have some strawberries and blueberries there. And then over there they have some dragon fruit and star fruit. It's a pretty nice selection. Here we have Chinese New Year's coming up in 2 weeks. So this is things that you buy to put on your front door or workplace for good luck. So people are buying these, and then there's other envelopes that you buy. These are stacks of envelopes that you buy. All the married people are supposed to give money to the single people, and adults give money to children. So all the adults are buying these red envelopes, and then you put, somewhere between $20 and $100, depending upon how rich you want to be, into the envelopes, and then you give it out to all the service people that you know, the doormen and the guards, and your children and neighbors' children, and all the single people you know. You're supposed to spread the wealth on Lunar New Year. Okay. Here we have jewelry, bangles and watches and other things. Here we have some necklaces. Here's some slippers and shoe inserts. Different kinds of shoe inserts. As you know, Hong Kong is a lot of walking. You can tell from the crazy amounts of people here. So people are big on their shoe inserts. There's a jade market. So, and then for some reason we have a bunch of dolls. So I guess they just sell whatever happens to make money. And we have some keychains. And up here we have some tapestries. So local tapestry, there's some panda bears, and then there's some dragons. Interesting tapestries. And then there's some Asian fans, Oriental style fans that are more for decoration than anything. So they have the kind that open, and they have the set kind. And here you have some more stuffed pandas, and then different kinds of stuffed dolls. And then down here is their jade, all different kinds of jade. Most of that's just low quality, cheap jade, but they have other places that have higher stuff. Phones and electronics, cords, pretty much all you could need there. And it's all super cheap. Most of these are just $1 or $2 for the cords. So you can see that one is 45 Hong Kong, so it's about $4 US. And then there's some cheaper ones down there. So there's some for 30. Depends upon whether you want the fast charging or the slow charging. Here we have scarves. Because it's so cold, I'm sure they're selling well. Lots of people like them for the month or two of the year that it's chilly here. And then more necklaces and jade. We have another fruit vendor, fruit and vegetables or peanuts. They have some raspberries there and blackberries. Ooh. Looks like nicely packed blackberries. I don't know if those are grown in China or grown overseas somewhere. I'm not sure. And there's some more pomelos. We have more clothing, different kinds of clothing. Jackets, vests. Here, $20 for handbags. Not bad. So you can get a purse for $2.50 US. So these street markets, they're pretty much here all the time, but back behind them are shops, regular shops. So here's a bakery back behind them, and you can see up here there's salons, and then up here this one's closing up for lunch, but then over there there's sneakers, and then there's different fashion shops. But most of the people come here for the street markets, especially on the weekends, so they're a lot busier. Here's some bedding, pillows and blankets and sheets. So bedding in Hong Kong is really expensive, but when you come to the street markets like this, it's not too bad. If you go to the set stores, you're usually paying about $100 US or more for a bedspread. but you come here and you can get it for a third that or less. So not a bad deal. We have socks. So if you need socks and tights and leggings. And here we have more sweatpants. Another phone place. Dish towels, it looks like. Watches. Always a big fan of watches here. In Hong Kong, there's people hawking the fake ones and the real ones. So these are just the cheap ones. If you want the good ones, you have to go to one of the higher end shops. Over here we have another one of the Lunar New Year shops that's selling the different kinds of lanterns, and then they also sell the red packets, and then they sell banners that you can display on your door. So a little bit of everything. Well, these things, these lanterns, they're just decorative. They don't explode or anything like that. They're just decorative. So you hang them in various places around your house or out in front of your door, and then walk by them. They're supposed to give you good luck, so lots of people like those. Here we have body suits for sleeping. We have a tiger suit, and you have a Spider-Man, and then you have a giraffe suit. Interesting body suits. Pajamas, I guess, but there's full on. Here we have hats. All different kinds of hats. You have monkey hats and bunny hats, and then here you have sports, the different sports teams, and then with logos on them. So just many different kinds of hats. Over here we have a high-end fruit and vegetable vendor. You can see the selection here is amazing. They have cantaloupes. It's not too common to see those here. And then down there they have some limes and all kinds of different. They have the pumpkin tomatoes there. There they have some fruits that are already cut if you want to give them a try. They have samples here too if you want. And then these are lychee. They peel, and inside they're white. It's a white squishy fruit. They're very tasty. Somebody's making a purchase there. Over here it looks like they have some mangosteen. And then here they have passion fruit. Don't see passion fruit here very often, but they got some. And they have some cherry tomatoes down there. Okay. Moving right along, we have a few towel places. And then more different kinds of fruits. There, the rose apples are finally in season. Most of these get imported from South Africa. You eat them just like an apple. You can just bite into them. They have the texture of celery, but they taste a little bit like a juicy apple flavored celery. I know that's a little weird to explain, but they're pretty good. So these are cheap. You can get them for $25 for the package, which is just at about $3 US. And then they're waxy on the outside, so they're pretty firm, and you can cut them or you can just eat them that way. So I just eat them that way. So here they have some yams. There's a few shops here that we haven't got to yet that'll have a lot of yams and dried goods. Well, we didn't get to them yet. You'll note here everybody is masked up, and that's because we still have laws in place that require you to be masked in public at all times or pay a 5,000 Hong Kong dollar fine. So nobody's going to risk that. And if you take your mask off, you'd get yelled at. So nobody's going to walk around without a mask for very long. This is more fruit, but these are high-end imported fruit, you can tell. Here we have some pineapples, various other fruits. Let's move along. Over here is a juicer station. So this shop in front of me does juice. So you buy the fruit that you want, and then they'll make it into juice. They'll put it into their machine and give you a bottle of juice from it. And you can also do carrots. You can see they have carrots floating there. And then they have all the different fruits and a few vegetables. So you can get whatever kind of juice tickles your fancy. And here they have sugar cane. They'll grind up the sugar cane for you and make it into a sweet, chewy drink, or sweet drink. Some people just chew the sugar cane but most of them grind it up into a juicer that smashes the juice out of the cane. This looks like pet enclosures. They have pet beds, so they have a pumpkin themed pet bed, and they have, looks like for cats and dogs. We have more fruit here. Here they have couch covers, duvet or couch covers. And here's more fruit, more peanuts. I guess people here love the nuts. Oh, they have one of the dragon fruit cut open so you can see the inside of it. So you can see it's on they have it on some chopsticks stuck into the table there. So they cut it open so you can see. These are really sweet and soft, but they are so good. Now they have cherries there, strawberries. Most of the strawberries are imported, but we do have strawberry farms here in Hong Kong where you can go and you can pick. Here they have dried spices. These are quite common all throughout this section. We just haven't hit any of the bigger shops yet. Dried spices, dried mushrooms, preserved eggs, things like that. They sell most of those at the shops. Here they have a kiwi cut open. So if you...
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry, not a kiwi, an avocado. Avocado. So they have a avocado cut open so you can see the seed. And then they have, here they have dried goods, different kinds of plants, different kinds of peanuts and nuts. They have almonds in there, and then I see a bag of pistachios, huge bag of pistachios. Pumpkin seeds, all kinds of stuff. Then they have some dried items there, and then they have some candy. So if you like the sugar candy, and they have a little bit of that here. Moving right along. Here they have dried apricots in big bags. You buy them in bulk, and then they have cashews, it looks like there. So shelled cashews. And I'm guessing they also have pretty much everything else. These are fried dough. They're fried dough. They're usually flavored like barbecue or something like that. And then they have dried fish and dried candies and dried fruits here. This whole shop is all these dried goods and candies. Quite yummy. Usually these you'll buy them by the pound or the kilo and then bag them up, and they have a scale over there you can see. So they weigh it all and tell it to you. They're pretty cheap, most of these, usually around 30 Hong Kong a kilo, so it's quite cheap. I'm going to move back out onto the main street here. Got some more fruits, oranges and mangoes. Pretty cheap there for some nice big ones. Apples, star fruit. The star fruit are pretty good too. They're fairly soft and you just cut them up and eat them. You don't have to really prepare them. Most people just eat them raw. We have a bit of foot traffic here, but I'm going to hit an open area up here soon. More clothing, vests, and then sweatpants and things like that. This shop, they have luggage, but during Lunar New Year, the shop next to it is just going to sell this Lunar New Year stuff. So it's always bright red and gold for good luck. And then after Lunar New Year is gone, this will shut down and they'll switch back to whatever they normally sell. Might be towels or pictures or jewelry, who knows. But for now, it's Lunar New Year stuff. Here we have pajamas. All different kinds of pajamas for adults and kids. Here we have some costumes for children. So for the Lunar New Year, most of the children they'll put them in the garb for school days. So they'll buy these little costumes. They're pretty cheap. You can see that one is 50 Hong Kong, so it's about $6 US. And they have sweaters here for kids. British flag if you want jackets. Here we have a woman's shop for bras if you need bras. And over here we have hats, like the more gentlemanly style hats. So here we have some more good luck things and hanging necklaces and wind chimes and things like that. And more Lunar New Year. Never-ending Lunar New Year stuff. Over here we have jade. Another jade bracelets, necklaces and things like that. Because it's just cold, not all the vendors set up today, so we have a few open spots, not many, but a few. On the summer days, this is just 3 times busier. So if you think this is busy now, yeah, come back after COVID or come back during summer or after the protests and you'll see this is amazingly different. Okay, we have some belts here and glasses. And here we have more jewelry and sunglasses. So all different kinds of jewelry. Rings, different kinds of rings, sunglasses up here. Here we have kids' pajamas and sleeping wear. Up here in front of us we have cookware, pots and pans. Speakers. Different kind of speakers and watches, flashlights, all kinds of electronics, power cords and little mini zoom lenses. And here we have pots and pans. Hopefully that music didn't pick up too clearly, because if it is, they'll copyright ding me and then I'll have to silent that part of the video. There you go, there's belts and they can adjust the length. Over here is luggage, lots of luggage. All different kinds. They have the big and then the small handbags, a little bit of everything. So if you need luggage, it's a good place to come. You can go to the big box stores, but you're going to pay for that. So here you're going to get it for half price or less. It's a pretty good deal. And they have watches, a whole big selection of watches. You can see watches for 30 Hong Kong, so about $4 US, 3.5, $3.50 US. So not bad, not bad. Here we have more shoe inserts and socks. Quite a lot of socks. And some scarves. Different kind of scarves. Let's do some duck and move to get out of the crowd here. Here we have full hoodies, face covering, and because it's so cold, so a few people want face covering and beanies, stuff like that. Those would have been illegal 6 months ago because of the protests. So, but now they're not too bad. These vendors aren't open. And over here we have some winter jackets and some pants again. Okay, we're coming up to the main road, the end of this market. So we're going to swing left here and then head down to the next market. So let's see what we got here. This is the little carts that they use to move around the city. You see they can pack that up pretty easily. This one, socks, it looks like. Socks and other things. There's quite cheap. $20 Hong Kong for those pairs, $39 for those. And then over here we have some phone holders. So if you need a phone holder, they clip. And they'll hold laptops and other things, so if you want to watch your phone. They're a pretty good deal. Okay, so we're going to head down to the next street and then we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so we are back up on the bridge as we walk over to the next street. It's a bit loud here. You can see it's picking up. Quite a lot busier here on this end of it. The buildings shelter from the wind, so a lot of the helpers are set up down here. They have their little picnic areas. A lot of times they'll set up 6 or 8 or 10 or 20 batches of food, and then as people walk by, they can come by and they can pick the food, and then they can buy it by the tray. And it's a neat little side business that a few of the helpers have to make some money. Oh, it smells so good. Quite a lot of batches of food. You can see they're setting up here. We're just getting started with the food, and almost every one of them has something that they're setting up. I guess they're getting started a little late today. See, some are much more professional than others. They have these large-scale setups for 10 people or more. And in there they have all the food pre-packaged in a bag. You just basically pay the set price and grab the bag that you want. Okay. So we're going to head on over here until we get back down to the street level. So quite a lot of helpers here. There we go. There are escalators and elevators down, but if you want to get down a specific street, sometimes you have to take the stairs. This is going to get us to the main street, and then they have more of the vendors branching off of this, the flea market streets, things like that. Go. This is the main street in Mongkok. And now it's everybody crossing, but I don't need to cross there. Well, we're going to head down here and walk down here. And we'll be back as soon as we get back to the wet market. So here we are in the next section. This one is not quite as busy. We have some men's shirts here. Men's shirts and socks. You see we're coming up on a bigger market street. These vendors are more local. This guy sells tools, different kinds of tools you can need: grinders, sanders, wrenches, all kinds of impact things. Nice. If you're a mechanic, that's a good place to be. Some of them in the past I found sell fishing gear and all kinds of random stuff. I assume if you live here in this part of the town and you come here a lot, you would know which vendors have the stuff that you like. These are dried goods. Some of these are a little weird. Some of these are dried sea cucumbers. I see some deer antler there, and then there's some dried jellyfish and squid, and then here's some different kinds of nuts, trail mix kind of things, and then some dried peas, dried meats. Lots of dried fruits, more candy. There's some licorice. So there's black packs of licorice. They sell those as a throat lozenge, but I just buy them to eat them. So. Here they have more green vegetables and plants. You can see they have some taro root there for sale, and then they have the plants. So you can buy the potted plants, and then they have some white radish. So their white radishes here are quite big, as you can see. So this is over twice the size of my hand. They're not like any radishes we have in America, really. These, I don't know what they are. They look like some sort of a elongated, flattened pea pod. And then they have some corn. And these are the local versions of cucumbers. They're smaller, thinner. And then there they have some duck eggs and chicken eggs. Here they have some dried fish. You see here they have some dried sausage. The dried sausage and dried chicken are really popular here, especially around the holidays. People will buy those high-end dried sausages and gift them to friends and relatives. Okay, there we have some veggies. They have some garlic, and then there's some dried fish kind of mixed in there. Some bananas, other greens, some roots. There's some eggplant, a little bit of everything. Some mushrooms. Okay, we're back to another market street here. There's toys. This goes both ways. So you can see this goes all the way up there. And then the other way, it's going to go down there for quite a distance too. So we're going to pick one. And let's give it a go. There's some sugar cane, and there's some kiwis. And a few other fruits and veggies that are common here. Up there in front of us, you can see some pomelos. Some of the orange tomatoes with the weird apple texture. There's some more avocado. I want some fresh avocado. Some prepackaged, some fresh. There's some greens, some chestnuts. Chestnuts here are really popular. They buy them roasted, or you can buy them raw like this and then take them home and eat them raw or use them in cooking. There's bok choy. Bok choy here is quite a popular thing. Here they have some spring onions. And there are some smaller, I think those are small eggplants, but I'm not really sure. There's some bees here, so it can't be too cold. There's some peppers, green peppers, and then there's some onions there, and some cucumbers. Back in the back, you can see there's some huge roots. See, behind that guy, his roots are bigger than my head. Moving along here. More vendor stands with fruits and veggies. You've already seen about 50 of those. They all have pretty much the same prices and the same wares. A lot of these strawberries are Japanese, imported, but sometimes they're local. You can read them closely and see. These obviously, like the carrots, are obviously local. Carrots and sugarcane, they grow them here. Here in mainland China. Here they have mini melons. A little bit of mini melons there if you like small watermelons and don't want a big full-size one. Moving right along. More of the dried goods. Different dried goods here. The smell is quite unique for those dried goods places. Not bad, just weird. I think those are coconuts. Peeled coconuts. There's some more rose apples and some lemons. Those rose apples are a little cheaper, $20 for a batch instead of $25. More coconuts, I think. And over here we have the little mini oranges that come on trees, which I think they're mandarins, but there might be another name for those. Here's a big bin of yam. More yam. There's some more passion fruit. Some sausage, dried sausage along with it. Getting a bit crowded here. You can see up in front of us here, it's just a wall of people. Oh, here they open these up. You can see they cut them open and you can see the inside. So if you're curious to know what those look like. We're going to have to work through the crowd here a bit. Everybody buying and selling. A lot of people have these little pulled carts. They pull around so that they can carry stuff. They don't have to carry it in their hand. Here they're selling, it looks like corn. They have different kinds of corn, sweet corn. And then that looks like Indian corn, but I think it's just another variant of sweet corn. Okay. Sectioning out the bananas and making them look all nice. These sections of town didn't have many meat places. Typically, there's more meat places. So here, they have them in this little section of the alley. So I can show you. Here they're cutting. Most of these are pork, but some of these are beef, depending upon where you go. So this one is pork. You can see they have the hooves here. And they're going to dice it up in front of you. So you can pick what you want. They'll cut it right here for you. They have all these hanging. And you can see back in the back there, they're cutting. Looks like chicken and pork. Looks like they're cutting pork. And here, this girl is cutting up big sides of pork. Here they have the livers and innards. These are frozen, so they cut them up frozen and then sell them frozen. So for hot pot and for soup. Fresh Australian citrus, Valencia oranges. So I guess some of those are from Australia. Here they have these pots at almost every restaurant that has meat and various other things in it that just stews. And then you stop by and you can get a bowl of it. So you can see this girl's buying some. So they scoop out some of the cuts of meat and throw it into a container for you. Really cheap. I don't think I would trust anything that comes out of those, but the locals like to. So these are tripe and cow stomach and things like that, intestines. And they have some chicken feet there. There's some pig knuckles. A little bit of everything. So, and then off of these alleys, there's more alleys. So we'll hit this one shop before we go up that alley. This is a bakery, a local bakery. So they have these little mini egg tarts here. They're quite cheap, usually just a few dollars Hong Kong for each egg tart. So some are dried, they're dried goods, and then some are fresh baked. And then they also have cakes here. Most of these bakeries have cakes, so when they look all nice, you can buy them by the cut or by the full cake. Okay. The cakes are expensive. This is about 18 US. And then some of these others are a little cheaper. The small ones are usually about $2 US for the small ones. Okay, so let's head on up here. We have dried goods for cooking. Dried beans, dried spices, dried fruits and veggies. A little bit of everything there. More dried goods, mushrooms, different kinds of mushrooms, shredded and dried. Tapioca balls. There's some sponges, different kinds of eggs. Okay, and that put us into a different section of the market, and this one is going to be the greens. So you can see this one is almost all greens. kinds here. Those are huge. And here's peppers, green peppers. You can buy for cooking and various other things. There's some more of those roots. Quite large, bigger than my hand. I don't know what they do with the roots. And you can see this whole section here. It just goes on up here. It's big. They have some meat vendors here. You can see this one here. They're cutting, here's fish, dried fish. So they're chopping up dried fish now. It's apparently really hard to chop, so they have to pound through it. And then over here, they're fresh meat cuts. This one is all pork. Looks like this whole street is going to be fresh fish and meats with a few vegetables mixed in. So here's fish. You can see most of these are live. Let's see if I can get you a better angle here. Yeah, so you can see back there there's some snakehead swimming around, some sea bass, some grouper. And up here they have them on ice. They're cutting them up. Yellowtail, a few other things. Red snapper I see. And then there's some reds. And then here they have them half cut. Eels that are cut. I'm guessing those eels were busy trying to get away, so they cut them up to keep them from trying to slither. Lots of greens. The locals eat fairly healthy here with a lot of fresh greens that they bake every day. They have a little loudspeaker under that one that goes as you walk by. More fish. And it looks like some needlefish there and some barracuda. Some bigger and then some smaller. There's some flounder there. Over here we have a lot of greens on the other side. This place is Condiments. They have different kinds of sauces. And then they have greens and dried goods. So it's quite a mix. Here they have sausages, the dried sausages, all the way back. So different kinds of dried meats, dried sausages. These are called the 1,000-year-old eggs. They're not that old, obviously, but they just preserve them in some sort of a brine until they're black inside, and they're supposed to be good luck to eat them on Lunar New Year's. Okay, here we have a whole potato sauce. You can buy them live, and then they'll field dress them right for you. And then here we have some turtles. I don't know if they kill the turtles and dress them in front of you, or if they give them to you live. And here they have some cut fish. They're busy cutting right in front of us. And here's some cut up eels. They've already been sectioned off. And down there, I see some catfish. They have to keep it grayed over. Different kinds of fish. There's some shrimp. And then there's the live bins that they have air feeds. So back there in the back, they have some turtles in nets. So different kinds of turtles in nets to keep from crawling away. And then most of these are snakehead, but they have a few others. Asian carp I see, and a few different other variants. Tilapia in there. There's water coming down from above, so I guess they have air conditioners. Some of these have big announcements that they go non-stop. And this is going to lead into another street. These markets, you could spend all day here going through these different markets. You know, whenever you hit the end of one street, there's another, and another, and another, and another. It literally never ends. So you can find what you need, no matter close you live. Okay, we're gonna finish here, and we're gonna go up on the MTR and get some lunch and head back home. So hopefully you like what you see, and if you come to Hong Kong and want to try the big white radishes, you can come here. Thank you, and see you again in a few days. Bye bye.